Hello everyone, this is Mark Flopsy Shepherd once again, and welcome back to Lemmings Plus Omega II. We're going to go through the last 5 levels of Spiky now, and this one first up was actually the second last level I solved in the rank. Yes, I know what you're thinking. 2 machine levels that stonewalled me till the last 2 in Spiky. Yep, Machine is always like the worst tile set in Lemmings Plus 5 for me. I'm always struggling with the levels on that one because of the vast amount of steel on it. This level was quite interesting because the thing that immediately became apparent was, why is there a blocker pickup on the end of this tail here? Because as soon as the climber picks it up, it then splats to the ground, and that is splat height. Only just though. By a few pixels. So first thing I thought of was to first thing I was thinking of was just building up the side here, which I did with the climber, and I had this part down to a T pretty much straight away. But the mistake I was making was I was getting the climber to do the whole thing. You actually only have to get the climber to do these 2 bridges and then just come back down and mine the crowd out, because the crowd will finish the job. And then what I found myself doing was running out of walkers too quickly because I was using the climber. So once the climber drops in mine, and then the climber is just going to dig into the teleporter and follow this weird little route to the blocker pickup skill. So what I did there was I used a walker and immediately had the lemming build, and I'm trying to race this lemming in effect, because so now he's stacking and he'll cut it off halfway up with the last walker. And the mistake I was making was I was platforming from up here, and that was nowhere near enough time. So then I started platforming down here, and then the lemming literally touches on it just as. And it's important that you get this lemming touching down as soon as it's able to, because it needs to do this platformer. As you can see, look, it's literally just finishes so that lemming can complete it. And with the blocker pickup skill, we just use that to free the rest of the crowd, which is a very nice use for the blocker. I can see why it was put as a pickup skill in the end, but for someone playing this level for the first time, they would just be thinking, why the hell is this blocker pickup skill up here? So very hard level. I'd say this is probably the second hardest in the rank, with Spiky 14 being the hardest, which was in the previous video. So brute force, Spiky 17. I'm not going to say this level is hard per se, but this one was incredibly execution heavy. Like, you had to turn a fencer around with a blocker in this level, and it's just amazing the amount of precision that went into this. So I'm going to try and explain it the best I can. It's quite hard because there's going to be quite a lot of lemmings up here, so nothing actually happens until we get up here. I think we end up assigning 1 stoner and a platformer, so when we assign the blocker, the fencer doesn't stop, because the fencer is incredibly sensitive, because if it doesn't have any terrain under its feet, then it's going to, if it's trying to fence upwards but there's not a diagonal incline, it's going to stop. So we did actually assign 2 fences there. Oh no, we didn't use the platform. We just ended up assigning 2 stoners, so that the fencer didn't stop, and then the platformer kind of keeps the fencer going as well, because otherwise the fencer will stop because it falls through a gap. And as soon as you got the fencer carrying on at this point, you're just giving yourself a clap. You just give yourself a pat on the back because you've done the level. But getting to that stage is just incredibly frustrating. So, for those of you wondering if you can turn a fencer around with a blocker and continue going upwards, yes you can. You just need like 2 stoners and a platformer. And I did tell Namida this solution was very cruel. But looking back on it, it's actually showcasing a very nice trick that Lemmings can do with fences. Okay, so it wasn't hard per se. It was very easy to see what you're doing, but just getting there was incredibly cruel. So Lemming Chaos Spiky 18. This was the 4th last level I solved in the rank, and I did ask the meter this, and he did actually. This was actually a contest level. It used to be called, I think it used to be called the doubly hard for Flopsy level, or the hard for Flopsy level Mark II. I can't remember which one it was. And he said he wanted to rename it to something a bit more casual for Lemmings Plus Omega II, rather than having my name in it. Although, to be fair, with the amount of struggles I've had on this rank, I think having a level named after me in this rank is appropriate, to be honest. But this level used to be named after me, so that's kind of something. Okay, so this one was solved today as... Okay, for some reason it's double saved a Spiky 17 replay. Didn't even do anything. So this updraft is actually so that climbers who climb up this left wall will get over to the middle of the level without any issue. And the hardest part was getting the crowd contained, and I kept thinking to myself I had to platform across this bit, but that's actually wrong. So instead, I just got a lemming ahead to stack at the edge here. I'm not even sure if it had to be at the edge. Not required, I don't think. So we then made the lemming a climber, so it could climb up the left wall here, and it'll go through this updraft thing and land in this gap here. And then we make the lemming a cloner, so it comes back and bashes the wall. Although I was stuck on this level for quite a while, I actually didn't mind this I actually didn't mind that it had this music, because this is very, very nice music, and I'm a big fan of Kirby's Block Ball, where a lot of the Lemmings Plus 4 tracks were taken from. So this lemming platforms, and I cloned this lemming at the top here. I'm not even sure if what I'm doing here is intended, but I build to the exit here. And then when these lemmings come round again, I'm going to get one of them to platform. And then the next lemming that comes along will mine through the platform. Because the problem I was having was, it's all very well getting these lemmings to the exit up here, but then I then need to turn them around. And I had to make it in such a way such that the climbers couldn't climb walls. And this was the only way I could find to do it. So I'm not sure if it's intended, but it did use all the skills, so I thought to myself, this is probably intended, and it's not exactly the most obvious solution in the world. Okay, so on to Spiky 19. This one was very hard as well. I'm not going to write this level off as being easy. I solved it a lot quicker than the other ones around it, because Spiky 18 is probably one of the hardest levels in the rank as well. But the genius with this one was we had to time a digger and a blocker. So we climb here and then mine backwards so that we mine through the builder. So a lot of mining through the builder solutions in this rank. And I think Spiky 20's got a mining through the builder solution as well. So that digger was timed, because it has to reach a certain point. It has to reach, it has to meet with the miner at similar times. And the reason for that is because we have to stop the digger with a blocker, but at the same time we can't have the digger too low such that the crowd gets trapped in the digger hole. So we have to get the miner. The miner has to get by and climb the wall, and then the blocker can be assigned. And this is the part I figured out, or pretty much almost immediately, that the basher had to be used on this wall here, because the lemmings will climb up into the basher tunnel. It was just getting this miner and digger tunnel into place that was the big struggle. That was the bit that took me ages to figure out. But yeah, overall it wasn't a bad level, and it did have me stumped for a good while. You know, it wasn't something that I solved almost immediately like some of the other levels in this rank. Okay, Spiky 20. This had a very strange solution, and when I found it, I thought to myself, I would never have thought of that initially. And it's got a 2-minute time limit, so it's hard. You can't do the standard approach to this because it's not going to work. You end up going 30 seconds over the time limit if you do that. So we put a digger here, and the digger had to be placed in such a way such that this third lemming didn't wriggle out. And climbing to the left here was a bit of an unusual one. So I'll start talking you through what I did initially. I put a blocker here, like what 99% of people probably would do, and then I built over here, and then I got the lemming down to here, and then I made him dig, and then when he dug, hit the steel and turned around from the wall he couldn't climb up, I made him a climber. Then he climbs up here and platforms across here. That ends up taking 2.5 minutes, which is not the time you've got. So, and then thought, oh, these one-way arrows, I could mine backwards and get the pickup skill and bash across. But again, that didn't leave me with enough skills to turn a lemming around up here. So that also ended up with me running into difficulties. So I ended up arriving at this one, which was putting a blocker here. And I think I wrote this off initially because I thought that this was going to take too long, but it actually doesn't end up taking too long. It kind of explains the level title as well, which was called Scenic Route. Climbers taking a scenic route from up here. I actually thought to myself, climbing and mining here with the climber, and then thought to myself, no, the climber's just going to die. So then I thought to myself, what if you built there and then we could mine through? Because I kept thinking that we couldn't use any builders for anything other than this bridge here, which was leading me to trouble. So this lemming starts bashing, and it's alright that he starts bashing because the crowd's going to turn around before the lemming breaks through entirely. And he does some of the work as well. Now this lemming's going to die, unfortunately, but that's fine. It's alright because the blocker was saved because we bashed underneath it, which I thought the blocker died on this level, so I thought that no one could die other than the blocker. Because we saved the blocker, it was alright. And that's the whole Spiky rank in about less than an hour. So don't get me wrong though, this took me months to get to this stage. Months of just, you know, taking an hour out of my schedule just to hack away at these levels. So sorry, croaky voice. I'd probably say that's probably about 20 hours of solving. Might be a bit too much there. Probably about 10 to 15 hours, maybe 20. I can't put an exact number on it. So that was all my off-screen solving. I'm sure you didn't want me to sit through 20 hours of me just looking at screen, banging my heads against walls, losing the will to live because I couldn't solve these levels. So yeah, but I've got another rank after this, believe it or not. This is actually not the end of the pack. We've still got one more rank to go, and it's 20 more levels, and it's the sharp difficulty. And the meter's going on at me saying this is one of the hardest ranks I've ever made. The only thing topping it is Lemmings Plus Alpha, which I probably never play anyway. Right, so I'll probably see you again in another year when I do solve some more levels in this pack, because maybe 2 years, who knows. So thanks a lot for watching, and I shall see you in the next video, whenever that will be.